The country of Georgia. Nestled in between Europe and Asia, this vibrant country is not just a place to visit, but a feast to experience. Let's go eat. First up, we have these incredible appetizers. Just look at the colors on them. These are Pkhali, which is like a pounded vegetable with walnut paste. You also have the walnut paste inside aubergine or eggplant. They are delicious. And they've also given me, I didn't ask for it, but they put it on the side. They've given me a red pepper, large red pepper, stuffed with that walnut paste as well. So essentially an appetizer of different types of walnut paste. These look insanely good. I'm gonna go with the green one, go for a red one, and then one of those stuffed little eggplants. You can see it really is made out into a paste. You see all those vegetables pounded up and then mixed with those walnuts as well into a paste. It is smooth, it does spread like a paste too, but let's try. Delicious. What about the beetroot one? Both are great. You can taste the herbs in the green one. It's fresh, brightens your mouth up. And of course the beetroot one with that deep red colour has a more earthy flavour. Both are great, both go well with the cheese plate as well if you get a cheese plate to go with it. I think my favourite of all of them is the eggplant, is the aubergine with that walnut paste. Whenever I have it, it's always delicious. You can see the aubergine is just stuffed with that walnut paste, and the aubergine is rolled around as well to make it into that little cylinder. I think they should be appetizers on every single table you eat at in Georgia. You will not regret that.
Khachapuri is famous all over Georgia and almost everywhere sells it. Essentially, it's a cheese boat. Bread, egg, cheese, and butter. I mean, come on, what more do you want? So let's go in. Got the food here. The Khachapuri was here, and they did let me film her making it. Watching her make it was so cool. I didn't actually, well, let's say this. It was made in a way differently to what I expected it was made. But yeah, I didn't expect that. The cheese in the middle is a cow's cheese, local to Georgia, of course. Honestly, I think Georgian cuisine is quite, well, it's very much comfort food, but you do not get more comfort food than this. It looks incredible, but the first thing to do is to stir up that egg and mix it into the cheese. Oh, you can just see that cheese. Look at that, mixed in with that egg. It looks so rich and delicious. Let's get a bit of everything in there, the butter, the egg, the cheese, and some of that crust. Oh man. That cheese is incredible. And as if you need to make it any more rich. But the egg and the butter, of course, makes it more rich, but the flavour of that cheese comes through straight away. You'd think, because they are using wholemeal bread, that the cheese would get hidden in the wholemeal bread, but my God, that is good. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a bit stodgy, a bit heavy, a bit greasy, but the way she's made it, the bread, the dough is so thin on the bottom, and it's crisp, it's crunchy. And yes, okay, the cheese and the butter is a bit oily, but it's not greasy. But when you press it, those juices, they just run into the bread. And because she has scraped out the dough from the inside, that cheese goes all the way to the edge. So it is just a couple of millimeters thick all the way around.
The Kubdari, yes, as I said, we've tried it before, but this one is worth having. It's absolutely jam-packed with meat, and you know from when we saw it being made, it's the beef that's cut up into little pieces and mixed with spices and herbs and things like that. Put into the bread, and then it's rolled out and flattened and then baked on that hot stone. And this one, or that hot griddle, should I say, and this one, again, like the Lobiani, is just made to crisp perfection on the outside. I'm gonna use my hands. It's kind of hands food, isn't it? It's like pizza. You don't want to be using a knife and fork for this one. So, yeah. I forgot to say, not only are the spices in there, the Svaneti salt and a little bit of chili, so you get a chili hit as well. Oh my God. It's like the best meat pie you have ever had. And what I love about these dishes, what I love about these stuffed breads, especially when there's meat inside, the fat from the meat comes out when it cooks and it melts into that bread. And it creates a little doughy, gooey bit that just gives so much flavor. But then you get the crunch from the outside and the taste from the charcoal. It's so, so good. If I lived in Svaneti, I'd probably be eating this one almost every day.
I'm going to start with the classic, and there is a way you need to eat these, so I'm going to show you, do not worry. Very conveniently, on the top, you have the little pinch point where the dumpling was put together, and actually you can just feel the juice inside of this. So what you want to do is pinch it at the top, turn it upside down, and bite a little hole in the dumpling. Just a tiny little hole on the side, and that's how you're going to suck the juice outside of the dumpling before you eat it. Wow, the flavor, I love these so much, the flavor in that juice, and it is just juice from the meat itself. As you saw, we didn't add stock, we didn't add soup to the dumplings. It is actually just created from its own juices, so it is so rich, it is so meaty, it's so beefy. Little bit of salt, little bit of onion in there, as I said, and the beef. Oh man, it's tasty. And then when you've done that, you bite and you eat, and you just eat through the dumpling. But do not eat that top bit. Save that. It's a bit too doughy, it's a bit undercooked. And yeah, you just don't really want to be eating that. It is unbelievably good. You can see how meaty it is on the inside. They don't underfill these things. It's like the meat goes into like a little patty on the inside. It steams inside that dumpling. They are boiled, but the meat inside steams, and it keeps it so moist. But the quality of these dumplings is so good. Honestly, guys, there is a difference between, I mean, all Khinkali is good, but there is a difference between good and very good, and these are definitely right up there.
All right, guys, time for the veal stew. Looks amazing, doesn't it, in that little clay pot? It is absolutely packed with coriander and a fresh red onion on top. But you can already tell the quality of the beef or the quality of the veal because it's not lean, it's fatty, and it's just bathed in that rich tomato sauce. And so I'm going to take a few chunks of that. But you know what I've just realized? I've done it wrong. I've made a complete and utter mistake. What I should be doing is putting this tashmajabi on first and then letting that sauce seep into it. This is potato and cheese. We've seen alaji, which is cornmeal and cheese, but this is potato and cheese, and it is so stretchy. There's so much cheese in there, so just get some of that on the plate. Again, 2 more dishes here from Svaneti, so I had to try them, especially this tashmajabi, this potato and cheese. And I say it's full of cheese and you don't want to watch your waistline. I have put on weight, my God. 2 weeks in Georgia, I'm struggling to get the jeans on. Anyway, we shouldn't waste too much time thinking about that, but I cannot wait to try this stew. That stew and that beef is absolutely incredible. You can see the fattiness on it, as I said. And when you eat it, that fat just melts in your mouth and the beefy flavor comes out of it. It's soft, it's been cooked for a long time, but it reminds me a cross between a goulash, maybe like a Hungarian goulash, and an Italian ragu, or a bolognese type sauce, because it is cooked with tomatoes, onions, and garlic. So you get that Italian vibe, but then you get the flavor of the blue fenugreek. And I forget the name of it in Georgian, so let me just check what they call it. They call it uchko suneli. It is a spice which they use a lot up here, blue fenugreek. It has a nuttiness and a fragrance to it that you just do not get from other things. You can tell it's in there straight away, and that's why it reminds me of the goulash with the spice, a little bit of paprika in there too. It is so delicious. Obviously you can eat it any time of year, but it's absolutely perfect when snow's on the ground outside. It is pure comfort food, and that potato is the perfect match. There is another stew up here called ostri, and same again, it's eaten with that potato. In my head, my go-to would be to take some rice with this dish. Maybe I've just been eating too much Asian food, but potatoes and the beef stew, great match. Okay, next up, Chkmeruli, chicken in milk and garlic sauce. First thing, what do you notice? How crispy and golden is that skin? Looks absolutely amazing. Clearly pan-fried after being cooked in milk and garlic, but that sauce, that chicken is just sat bathed in that sauce and then it's finished with the herbs on top. Looks beautiful, especially against that black background, I must say. All right, first things first, I think just cut into that chicken. It's boneless. Oh, wow. You can see it's been beaten down, flattened out. Look at that. How ridiculous does that look? So juicy. That chicken is amazing. The first comment is, how chickeny is that chicken? And I've said this before in my videos, chicken in the UK often doesn't really taste like chicken. It just tastes like texture in your mouth with no flavor. But that chicken genuinely tastes like chicken. The savory flavor that comes off that skin, where it's been roasted or pan-fried to crisp it up and make it golden, it's so savory, it's salty. You cannot beat chicken skin, of course. But the chicken itself is so succulent, it's so juicy, it's cooked absolutely perfectly. And then it's all about that sauce, the flavor in that sauce. It is strong with garlic, but not like raw and harsh in your mouth, but you definitely get smacked around the mouth with garlic flavor. There is a lot of garlic in there, but because it's rich, because it's creamy, it's all perfectly balanced, salty, creamy, rich, chickeny. The herbs come through, and look what's just arrived on the table, bread. The bread we had at the bakery, shorty, has arrived too, and that is exactly what you want to dip into that sauce. Wow, it is hot, it's come straight out of the oven. It's unbelievable.
Alright guys, just come into the park. Well, not much of a park, it's totally and utterly snowed over, but came to the park just to show you this bread, this short tea, and we had a look at this in Tbilisi, but this one may look even better. Look at the colour, the golden deliciousness of that. You can see where it's been on the... Oh, hello. Got friends. Can't do anything here without a dog coming. Let's give the dog a bit so it can be happy. Wow. You can hear the crunchiness of that. Let's get rid of the dog. Anyway, you can see where it's pushed against that tonne oven and baked with the charcoal in the bottom. And yeah, you can smell it. It is delicious, sweet smelling bread, crispy on the outside. Just break it open. Oh yeah, I'm all for sharing. But come on, you need to let me eat some too. Let's give him a bit more. Let's give him the crusty bits. There you go, get away. Is it going to see that one? Right, as I say, it's a very simple bread. It's over there, look. I'm losing all of this. There we go. Right, gotta go quick. Right, you can see it's soft and fluffy on the inside. Just look at that. But that outside, cooked by the charcoal, is crisp, crunchy. It's so good. And of course, it's warm. It's warm in my hands. It smells amazing. Very simple, as I said. Just flour, salt, water, and yeast. It's good on its own, but you know, if you had some of that Georgian cheese to go with it and some of those vegetables, because the vegetables here are amazing, guys, here in Georgia. You know it'd be even better. You can just hear the crunch on the outside. I can see why my friend here is so interested, because it truly is delicious. You can fold it up, shove it in your backpack, and go out for the day. Take a few vegetables and meat, and you've got yourself a nice little picnic. But it's not just the tourists. I mean, it's right in the central area, but it's not just the tourists who are eating it. All the locals are coming all the time. It's just 2 lari, super cheap, less than £1, about $1. And the country that makes proper bread is a good country to me. And Georgia certainly knows how to make bread. So much so, the dogs love it.
Maybe let's try the Lobiani, because That's the one that we haven't tried so far. And when I was at the family restaurant, they told me that something this size, either Khachapuri or Lobiani or Kubdari, is served one per person, as well as all of the rest of the food. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But I told you, it's the bread stuffed with bean paste, red beans, kidney beans, and is absolutely delicious. This one is like a soft flatbread style. You can just see the layer of beans on the inside there, with a little bit of onion and garlic too. Let's try it. I actually love this one. There is so much flavor in those beans. They've been cooked slowly with onion, with garlic, and then mashed up into a paste and put inside there. It's so savory. You actually don't miss the meat. The texture is perfect. It's not grainy. It's not like mush. It just melts away in your mouth as you eat it. But the bread, I said in this place, and it'll probably be the same for the Kubdari, the bread in this place, you could tell it's been cooked under charcoal or wood fire, because you get that flavor from it. It's so crunchy, and it's absolutely perfect with that bean, because the bean, if you eat too much bean, because the beans don't have the most texture, do they? So you want something crunchy, you want something crispy to go with it, and that bread is the perfect companion. The lobi, or the bean stew, just look at that. Look how thick and unctuous that bean stew is. It's served in a little clay pot, traditional style. It comes with the pickles on the sides. You've got pickled beetroot, looks like pickled squash, some kimchi, pickled cabbage, which looks interesting, some sauerkraut, and then this, and this is very special, pickled bladder nut flowers, or jonjoli, as they call them here. Haven't tried those before. I just want to try the bean stew, to be honest. As I say, it looks amazing. It looks so thick. It's normally made with red kidney beans, and then there's onion, there's garlic, there's coriander, there's fenugreek, there's bay leaves. So very, very hearty, warming flavors. Oh, wow. Those beans are super, super soft. You can tell it's been cooked for hours, but yes, it's beany. They just break apart in your mouth as you chew them. However, the flavor, my God, you would not think that they make that without meat. It's so rich, it's so powerful, it's so strong, you do not miss the meat at all. The coriander comes through straight away. You get the richness of the onion, and then, yeah, that beany flavor just takes over. It's super, super good. It is rich, and I can see why they serve it with the pickles, because those pickles are going to work amazingly with that stew. To be honest, with the pickles, I don't really know where to start, but I guess we should try it with the jonjoli, the traditional pickle here in Georgia, picked in the mountains from the jonjoli bush and then pickled in vinegar. So get a little bit of those on the spoon and then go into the bean stew. Wow, if it was good without it, that jonjoli just takes it up to the next level. The jonjoli has a crunch. It's not super, super acidic. Obviously, it is pickled, so there is an acidity that comes through, but there's a sweetness to it too, and a saltiness. Super delicious with that bean stew. Right, let's try this Chvishtari. And when we went for the meal at the lady's house, the cooking demonstration, we did see these being made. And if you remember, there was, I can remember actually, there was flour and cornmeal. No, I think it was just cornmeal, but there was cornflour which had been ground up, mixed with cheese, and she made them into little patties, and then put them in the frying pan with hot oil. I distinctly remember that the sizzle as it hit the pan and the smell of cheese come up. They were good there, but I've got to say, guys, I've eaten them here, and they are insanely good. You can see the golden, crispy color that can only come from cheese, and so much cheese put into that. You can almost hear it as you tap it on the outside, but you know on the inside it's going to be soft and cheesy and unctuous. I mean, I haven't even tried it yet. And this is the one that I like to get that green sauce. You do have two types. You have the red and you have the green. I prefer the green because it has a sour flavor. It's more sour than the red one. They are both made with plums. This green one is made with the young, unripe plums. And as you would expect, it brings a sourness, but it's synonymous with Georgian cuisine. You will find it on every single table. This one is worth trying and perfect to go with this. Oh yeah. Think of grilled cheese sandwich, but think of the bits that catch the pan, if you're doing it in a pan or under the grill, think of the bits that catch the pan and go caramelized essentially on the pan, those like really big savory hits of cheesy flavor. That is exactly what this tastes like when it's done well. And then you have that plum sauce which just cuts straight through it. I have room for a little snack, and a snack that you find all over the streets of Tbilisi and Georgia. I'd probably say it's it's probably the national sweet of Georgia. You either see it on the streets with sometimes little old ladies selling it, or you see it at the market. But I decided to buy it from a shop because my Airbnb owner told me there's a shop called Badagi, which does the best Churchkhela in all of Tbilisi. So if she tells me that, and it's advice from a local, I have to try it, right? So I went there, and here it is. Looks interesting, right? Actually looks like a candle. It's made of condensed fruit juice, normally grape, and then that is poured over nuts, in this case, walnuts. And walnuts, if you didn't know, are a big thing here in Georgia. So yeah, it comes on a string. I'm not entirely sure how you eat it. I guess you just strip it off the bottom. When you read about it online, everyone says Churchkhela, Georgian Snickers bar. And I've got to admit, it probably sets up unrealistic expectations of how Churchkhela tastes, because let's be honest, you're not going to beat a Snickers bar, are you? And Snickers is one of my favourite chocolate bars, so my expectations are set pretty high when I hear that. But we're going to give it a fair shot, should I say. Yeah, let's try it. You know what? That's pretty good. You can see on the inside those rich, large, plump walnuts. Super tasty. The walnut flavour comes through really strongly, but the outside, I thought it was going to be dry. To be honest, it looks like it's going to be dry, right? But that condensed fruit, it's juicy, and juicy in a way that it makes your mouth water. It's sweet, but not too sweet. Yeah, super delicious. A nice snack. You just strip it off the string. And I guess the beauty of that is you don't have to eat it all. You can just hang it up on when you want more. But the main thing here is the walnuts. Boy, are they good. Super tasty walnuts. But Georgian Snickers, I think I'll grab a Snickers. But as far as snacks go, this is a good one. Of course, if you've got produce this good, you may as well try a bit of everything, hadn't you? So one eclair, one slice of honey cake. Medovi.
Eclair.
Yeah.
Tita Malaga.
Okay. And bird milk. Look at that. Madloba. Thank you. Honey cake. I've saved this one until last because honey cake kind of took my fancy as the favourite. Again, you've got the layers on there, the layers of cake, the cream, but I presume this time it's made with honey, of course. I'm just going to take a fork of that this time, not be a rude person eating with their hands. Oh, wow. The others are good, but seriously, that one might be the winner. And it's not just me who wants some. Hello. I would love to give you some. But you can't eat chocolate, sorry mate. Now if you're a wine lover, Georgia is an absolute must, and sure, you could come out to one of the many bars here in Tbilisi and drink some wine, but if you want to learn about the fascinating history and try some incredible wine, you should do what I've done and book yourself onto one of the wine tours. I'm with a company called Eat This Tours, and we're going on a wine walk around 3 different bars to try some Georgian wine and learn about the history. Let's do it.
Okay guys, Georgia's history with wine is both deep and ancient. It is one of the oldest wine regions in the world, with an 8,000-year history of cultivating grapes. The traditional Georgian winemaking method is slightly different to how we do it today. It involves fermenting the juice with the grapes, the skins, the seeds, and the stems in a large clay pot called a kuveri. And these kuveris are buried underground to maintain a constant temperature for fermentation, and gives Georgian wine a unique character and flavour. One of the things we learned on the tour was that Georgian wine plays a crucial role in Georgian hospitality, and it is often consumed at traditional feasts known as supras. The supra is led by a toastmaster or tamada, and the tamada is responsible for proposing toasts and maintaining the flow of conversation. And aside from learning about the history, there was a lot of drinking. I expected to try at least 1 or 2 glasses of wine at each stop, but at the end of it, we had 16 glasses. It really was a fun afternoon and worth every single penny. And I guess I learned that wine in Georgia is not merely a drink, it's a way of connecting people and expressing values that are central to Georgian identity.